and get a great scope of influence, we have to know where our influence, the strength for influence lies, and the opportunities that we can explore in line with that. So I'll talk about our different spheres of influence. And then, as I said, I'll tie it into what GAND hopes to achieve with this membership, so that we narrow it down to a discussion that will bring it home. And then the strategic plan. It was interesting that I think a week ago, one of our members asked what GAND was doing in terms of the strategic plan. And I had already planned to talk about it. So I was excited that the discussion has started. And then we can talk about collaborative areas. Where are the areas for opportunities for collaboration between the two professionals? And then I'll conclude and give my reference. So moving forward, I love quotes. So let's start with this one from Henry Ford. He says, a team, the first thing about a team is when we come together is the beginning. So GAND has come together in terms of, or has brought together nutritionists and dietitians. So we have started. So far we are strong and GAND is still active and alive. So we are keeping together. And so we can say that we are progressing. Now, where is success in a team? It is when we work together. So let's see how we can work together, collaborate, and come out with a lot of success stories. Now, just sending us back a bit to the history of GAND, a merger between two very dynamic professions, our Ghana Dietetics Association and then the Ghana Nutrition Association. We will be, I think, is it 4 years this year, because GAND was given birth to in 2019. And its scope of representation is for registered dietitians, nutritionists, nutrition and dietetics technicians, and other food and nutrition professionals, as well as students. Now, let's look at the picture of our membership, because we are talking about GAND members. So this is how the picture looks like now. We have just over 600 members, with 336 members having a nutrition background and 276 members having dietetics background. But look at our potential for growth. We are looking at our membership strength of more than 3,000 if we're able to get everybody on board. So we are currently doing just a bit over 600 members, when there is such a wide influence level we can get to if we bring more members on board. Just imagine what we can do with 3,000 members. Currently, we are doing a lot with our membership strength. So even if we are having a lot of influence as nutritionists and dietitians, what more can we do when we actually bring all our members on board? And I think the potential is enormous. Now, this is a very major area. And as I said, this is not everything. We can discuss more areas of influence in terms of what our members are doing now. So our scope of influence goes into the clinical settings. So we have members in districts and regions who are hospital-based, who are clinic-based, who are in health posts, doing so many great things. And once we can get there, we can exert our influence as well. So we have a scope of influence going into the clinical setting. We have members in academia. We have lecturers, we have teachers in schools, we have in universities and colleges. And that is also an opportunity for influence. So we could exert influence or impact in academia as well. We do have some of our members in industry. So we have members in the food industry. So what does that do for us? It means that in the food industry, we will be able to exert a certain amount of influence or get things done in that direction as well. The same applies for regulatory agencies, authorities, the policy makers. So there again, we have a voice there because we have members in that field. So we have members who are in the corridors of power, making decisions about nutrition in Ghana and in other countries as well. And this is a gold mine to explore. Then we have influence in sports. So we were very proud to see some of our members attached to, let's say, the Black Stars going to the World Cup. This is also a good opportunity for influence and impact. We are in sports, and sports is big in Ghana. So there's a dietitian there, there's a nutritionist there. We can collaborate, we can make things happen. In the same way, businesses. So a lot of our members are into business. They have their own food companies, they are doing things. And once you are in business, you have clients and other people who come on board to make your business grow. So that's also an avenue for collaboration. That's also an avenue to have impact. Media. Members have their own channels, members have their own TV programs, members have a voice on our social media platforms. Another avenue for change, another avenue for impact. And then we have politics. We recently saw one of our members putting out a flyer. He intends to run for a political position. Who knows, maybe in future we'll have a GAND member who is the president of Ghana. Okay, and then what does that do for us? Our scope of impact, our level of influence goes up. And then authorship. We have members who have written books, good books on nutrition, good books on dietetics. These books are read by people carry it out of the country, and all this comes back to the level of influence that we can exert. As I said, this list is not by no means exhaustive. We can add a lot of areas where we are making changes and we are making sure that our impact is being felt. So we have to start from the beginning. As I said, I took the topic in line with where we are going as an association. Once we know where we are going, what happens is that then we can go in the right direction and make impact in the right direction. So as the two professional bodies who have come together, as the two associations who have come together as a professional body called GAND, where are we going? What do we hope to achieve? What do we hope to do? We can start from the beginning. So what I did was that I broke the vision of GAND into 3 components to capture where we are going. So the first thing is GAND says it wants to represent and develop the nutrition and or dietetics profession. So any impact or any collaboration that we want to do, or collaboration we want to do to exert impact and influence, will come from even developing ourselves and developing our unique professions. Then GAND wants to contribute towards achieving optimal nutrition for all Ghanaians. There again, our collaboration for influence, for impact can come in because we want optimal nutrition. So the question is, what can we do to obtain that optimal nutrition? What collaborations can we do? Where can we go? What can we say to achieve optimal nutrition for all Ghanaians? Then thirdly, GAND wants to provide the most credible source of nutrition and food information as applied to health and disease in Ghana. There again, we can find ourselves as these two vibrant bodies, the nutrition component and then the dietetics component, coming together to ensure that we do this. And then, as I said, the opportunities are just enormous. Even just going by the vision of GAND, we can get so much done. So it brings us to the next question. How do we get there? Okay, fine, we know where we are going now. We know that there's a vision that we want to work around as the nutrition caucus and then the dietetics caucus of GAND. So how do we get there? What is the boat that we'll take? What's the vehicle that we'll take to ensure that we are in the right direction? So when we are collaborating, we go in the right direction as well. So this is what I was talking about. A strategic plan is done because it will give us the most impact that we deserve. So I thought, why not go back to GAND's strategic plan? And in that plan, we can find what we can do as nutritionists and dietitians to ensure that we have maximum impact. And secondly, these strategic plans will now guide us as to what opportunities there are for coming together and working together as one. So for GAND's strategic plan, it has 7 focus areas. It talks about professional visibility. It talks about quality assurance and professional integrity. It talks about professional development and empowerment. It talks about professional excellence. It talks about autonomy, and then it talks about governance and accountability systems. And finally, infrastructure development. So it's exciting to see where we can come in or we can fit ourselves in this, firstly as unique individual groups, and then we can now merge together for various collaborations that we would have or would like to have. So let's start with our professional visibility. GAND wants to be a household name held in high regard in Ghana and beyond. So it means that when people are thinking about a professional body that has it all, that they will go to, we shouldn't be the last name that anybody remembers. We should be on the forefront of everybody's mind. So how do we get there? So there are opportunities for us to collaborate when it comes to community engagement. As I said, if not all, in most regions, districts, you would have at least a professional coming from nutritional dietetics, exerting influence in that community. If we come together to organize outreaches, we'll have a wide audience for influence, for change. We can do that going into the community now that the Zoom, and just like what we are doing, we can come together, organize outreaches in terms of reaching out to communities through all these platforms as well. There are opportunities for mentorship. Our membership strength comes in the quality of our members as well. We have, from my introduction, we have members in a wide area of influence, politics, media, everything. And we could be mentored, coming together to ensure that we are mentoring others. Sometimes a mentorship rule even comes from within, where if you are a nutritionist or a dietitian who has practiced for a long time, and then the young ones come, someone who just started in a year or maybe 2, they're there. We can collaborate on that mentorship drive to ensure that we are impacting our knowledge, our experience to others who have not maybe had that experience. And then branding. We are the visible signpost for what we stand for. So I would like to throw this question. Maybe you think about it and give me the answer later. When was the last time when you introduced yourself anywhere, you added, I'm a member of GAND? Please think about it. So we brand ourselves. So that again, we can collaborate on that. Branding is making sure that when anyone sees us, we represent what is of high quality, what is easily identified with in terms of excellence and good things only, I would say. So we have areas in branding we can explore in terms of our collaborative efforts. Then the media engagement. I mentioned earlier that we have members in media. I can give an example where a colleague in media called and said, you know what, you are doing this great thing in your clinical setting. I want to feature you on this. When can you come? When can we work on this? And guess what? I'm in a clinical setting. There's a colleague in media. By collaborating with the colleague in media, what is going to happen? There's going to be a wider audience that I can reach. Maybe in my clinic, my target was maybe 60 people. But then there's a feature on TV that is broadcast everywhere. And then whatever I'm doing reaches more people. So in terms of media engagement, we can collaborate with that. Now, engagement in policy-making decisions. I said that as part of our membership strength, we have members who are well-versed in what they do. So we have policy makers. The reason why this is so important is a lot of things that we practice or we do are driven by policy, and we need a voice there. And it's good to be updated on what is happening in terms of policy, what is happening in the corridors of power. And so the good news is that we could have collaboration in that line as well, where you are in a policy making space. I can tell you what is on the ground. So when you go for your meetings, we are one voice. So that engagement in policy making decisions is a platform as well that we can explore. Now, research and publications. We have a lot of members in academia. They do a lot of research. Maybe you are in your clinical setting. You have not had the opportunity to get a research done, but on your heart is a particular topic that you would like to know more about. Maybe you've seen that your cases that are coming are hypertensives from a particular region in Ghana. So can you collaborate with someone in academia? A proposal can be written. Can we do a mini research about how we are going to identify the cause of this? In the end, it's a win-win situation, not just for us, but for the people we serve as well. Now, moving forward to GAND's second strategic focus point, quality assurance and professional integrity. So it's in line with regulatory and practice frameworks. So we are a professional group where we have members who are guided by regulations, practice guidelines. Even if you are in academia, you still are guided by specific regulations, specific code of conduct, practice. Anywhere you find yourself, there's normally a quality assurance guideline to ensure that your work is of high quality and it's not compromised in terms of what you give out. So what can we do as two dynamic professionals? Commitment on our part to practice guidelines. I'm sure that in our setting or as a sphere of influence, whether you find yourself in the media, you find yourself in academia, you find yourself in politics, you find yourself in a clinical setting, we are guided by code of conduct, we are guided by things that should guide our practice and ensure high quality. So we can stick with that. We can adhere to moral and ethical principles as well. And the beautiful thing about this is, you see, it strengthens collaboration as well. If you have to, maybe you have a client who has to transfer to another region, you are sure that your colleague there, you can collaborate with your colleague there because your colleague there is having this high output or quality of care, just like you. So the collaboration is very easy for both of you to do. You could just hand over your clients to your colleague, collaborate with your colleague, and everything will go very well. In the same way, so we have what we call the peer-to-peer feedback. I know people get a bit uneasy sometimes when feedback is given to them, but I tell before that, who would you want a feedback from? Would you want a feedback from a colleague, or you want a feedback from a client who is sending you to court to be sued? I think you prefer your colleague, and hopefully your colleague will have your interest at heart and not be doing it out of a place of anger or something. But the peer-to-peer support is what we can, or feedback is, we can collaborate on that. So something happens in, let's say, quality, and maybe RD Prince is at Tema and hears it. Maybe I didn't hear. I would expect that the collaboration will extend to a phone call. Oh, this happened, I've heard this. Did you say this? Was this done? And then we trash it out, because it's always good to have a peer-to-peer feedback. And as part of our coming together to work for greater impact, we need to develop that amongst ourselves, that peer-to-peer feedback. And as I said, this list is by no means exhaustive. We can get a lot of ideas from you at the end of the presentation. What you think can be here, what you think is not supposed to be here. Hopefully we'll get that feedback as well. Now for the third strategic point where we can find our collaborative strength within will be from our professional development and empowerment. So GAND wants to ensure that nutrition and dietetic professionals in Ghana have up-to-date evidence-based resources and skills to deliver safe and quality nutrition and dietetic practices. So the key word here is evidence-based. I can add current, I can add up-to-date, I can add relevant. So we are not just developing ourselves, we are doing it in the right way, where we are current and we are not giving harmful practices, or we are not undertaking harmful practices when it comes to our clients or patients or whoever we interact with, wherever we find ourselves. And the second part of this strategic point is that GAN wants to streamline our practice, our training, so that if a nutritionist and let's say Tamale is saying A, it should be in line with the member in PRA who is also saying A. Aside that, we should have this updated knowledge of what we are doing. So let me give an example. If we found out that a certain drink is harmful to our clients, and we found that yesterday, collaboration could be, do you know that this drink is harmful? And we see it, sometimes articles are put on the platform for you to read. This is all about collaboration as well, to ensure that someone who has up-to-date information can share it with us. And the third point under this is to promote professional socialization and network. So it falls in line with what we want to do in terms of collaboration. So networking, and we're not just networking, we want to use relevant technological innovations. So you could have a great idea that this thing is going to help us do nutritional assessment for our patient. You put it on the platform, collaboration. Another member somewhere is going to read it. Another member is going to, it can even be in a meeting like this, it can be a discussion. And then we are able to share knowledge and then keep have an updated knowledge on our practice as well. Now, so I've said most of the things, but I would hammer on it again. But first, it has to be committed to, we have to be committed to our personal development, self-improvement. An example is there are CPDs, okay, but you would have to make up your mind to join and get updated knowledge. So first, as I said, for us to even come together to collaborate for greater impact, we need to, there's a part where we have to work on ourselves as well. And then we have to be willing to take part in activity. How do you collaborate if you are not available? So whenever there's an activity, because you can't collaborate alone in your office, it needs 2 or 3 people for it to be called, more than 2 people for it to be called a collaboration. So if you want to come together, then there has to be a coming together. It means that it's not just you. You're going to make an effort to go beyond your comfort zone, get others involved, learn from them, and they also learn from you. It comes back to our mentorship and career guidance as well. And then a best way here to ensure that we are getting up-to-date knowledge. I spoke about the research and publications. So we have members in academia giving us current information that can even guide our practice. And together, then we get a greater impact. Hi, please, are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Commitment to personal development, self-improvement. Yes, that's the screen on it now.
Oh, okay. It seems as if it's frozen a bit. Okay, let me stop sharing and then try to get it restarted. Sorry about that. I think my thing froze. Okay.
That's
Let me
okay.
Okay, my apologies. Can you see this? Okay. Please, are you able to see it?
No, your slide is not on yet.
Has it appeared?
No.
Please give me a few minutes. I'll continue shortly.
Okay.
I think I'm having just a little. Please, is it visible now?
No, it's not on.
It's on. Please give me a few minutes. I just ran into a bit of technical issue.
We are patiently waiting.
Thank you.
Whilst RD works on the slides, I would want to welcome those who weren't on when I did the earlier introduction. You are all welcome, and we cherish your attendance to this all important.
Please, can you see it now?
Yes, it's on now.
It's on now. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
you can put it on the presentation slide.
My apologies once again. Is it visible?
Yes, it's fine now.
All right. So our fourth strategic plan focus area will be professional excellence. So the goal is to inspire excellent professional nutrition and dietetic practice. So let's see how we can come in there. Once again, it comes to upgrading ourselves, our knowledge and skills, because two can work together unless they agree. If someone is saying, I've learned that we use pawpaw to treat iron deficiency, let's say in our area, and then the new knowledge is using pumpkin leaf or kontomire, there will be confusion. We cannot collaborate, we can't move on. So we have to move together when it comes to upgrading our skills and knowledge. And then know your role and job description. We are unique in terms of our job description. Some lean more towards curative practice. Another leans more towards preventive. Others lean more towards both. So whatever it is, once you don't know this is your strength, it's better to work on where your strength is. Because we in working together for impact, we help each other. Okay, where you are lacking, I come in, and so we fit together. If your area is more preventive, I need you. My area is more curative. And when we come together, we are able to do both preventive and then curative. And then shared knowledge. In doing this, ensuring excellence, you learn something, we share it, so that everybody once again is on the same page. And back, it takes us back again to our SOPs, our procedures, standard procedures, practice guidelines, and then peer-to-peer feedback again. So in ensuring excellence and coming together and making sure that our output is excellent, we need to have these components working for us and then within us as well. Now, the fifth one, GAND wants autonomy. So the goal is to achieve professional independence, self-preservation, and self-regulation. So we are coming together as nutrition, as dietetics. How do we become independent? Because the reason why I'm putting things in focus using our strategic plan is because I think our leaders or executives have done a good job, because once you have a strategic plan, you are looking at the best possible outcome of something you want to do. So if GAN wants autonomy, it means that our collaboration and how we can come together and get things done, we have to have the mind that we are moving towards autonomy. And within that space, we can have greater impact as well. What can we do? Solidarity in decision making. So there was a point where I remember our leaders saying that we're not going to There's a feedback. Okay, let me. Our leaders spoke about us having one voice in terms of not sending in our application for renewal of license. It could have been another way where someone in a hospital saying, I don't believe in what you are doing. But solidarity, I think the majority of us, or if not all, I stand to be corrected, actually stood behind them. So in getting autonomy, we have one. So a nutritionist in Kolebu, when we want to make decisions for impact or to better ourselves, to better our clients, to better the nation, we shouldn't have diverse voices. So what happens is that, in fact, no group, nobody, no nation can stand if there's division. So we want to collaborate, but we are different individuals, different groups with maybe even different goals for ourselves. But when we come together to collaborate, we have to have one voice. We have to be, if not even saying the same thing, almost saying this. And then volunteering. So in ensuring autonomy, it's got to do with a lot of things that need hard work to be done. Letters to be written, people can volunteer. Someone can say, you know what, I have this expertise in this. I'm good with proposal writing. I've been writing a lot. I've even been doing it for international bodies. Can you bring me on board to do this? Because I know that this document is very, very vital, and I think my expertise will be needed. Boom, we've collaborated. And definitely our outcome or output is going to be for a greater influence, or will cover a wider scope. And then back to the third, the second point is in the third point as well. So we have expertise. I started with just a few of where you can find our members. And even if we were just to take the places where I mentioned in my introduction, you can see the wealth of knowledge we have as a group. And if everyone will even come on board and say, let's do this, let's do this. I've worked in maybe the clinical setting for 30 years. You know what, I've seen it all. I can give you a history about where we started from. If you need somebody to go and talk to the minister about how difficult it was for us to start the history, maybe the minister wasn't even born then. And then maybe some of us were not born. But here we have a member who has this wealth of knowledge when it comes to history and experience, coming on board to collaborate with the rest of the group. We can get a lot done. So in the government, and the 6th point that is in GAND's strategic plan is governance and accountability system. So the goal is to build an environment of trust, transparency, and accountability to foster long-term stability, integrity, and growth of the academy. There's a lot of words, but I think what it's saying is that I can see the word integrity there. I can see growth, transparency, accountability. Let's look at the other goals. GAND wants to establish and maintain a comprehensive standard operating procedure and decision-making process for effective administration. And then the 3rd one, to provide responsive and equitable representation of all professional cadres in the academy's governance structure. So you can see where we come in to collaborate. Even if I ask, a lot of us are going to give examples of where the avenues, where you think the avenues of collaboration can come from, or what we can do for maximum impact. First of all, making yourself available to talk about something you know. I say that we have members who are have done a lot of these SOPs, have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to governance. Wouldn't it be great if we have someone with a legal background, even advising us which way to go in terms of ensuring that there's transparency within our practice or as a professional body? So let's see our roles. Willingness to take leadership roles or just show up, get involved. There are many committees. Collaboration means that 2 people, more than 2 people, working towards a specific goal. If there are 5 of us in the committee and we are all lending our voice to a specific target that we want to achieve, you bring your idea, bring my idea, and we are able to move faster. So the avenues for collaboration is just get involved. I think by showing up, we are able to do it. And not just showing up in our respective bodies, showing up wherever you find yourself, showing up in the media, showing up in academia, showing up in sports, showing up in our clinical setting. And once again, the peer-to-peer feedback will work here. Honest feedback. Anyone who is afraid of feedback cannot grow. So we may be going in a particular direction. There's a local proverb that says that when someone is reading, there's people behind him or her that can see whether the path or whatever the person is doing is straight. So it's always good to have a peer-to-peer feedback. In fact, it cuts across all the different strategic points. And once we are able to do that, in fact, if we don't even collaborate on anything at all, having a good peer-to-peer feedback is collaboration. We are able to make ourselves better. Now, the 7th point, this is an interesting point, but I hope you can see the picture. The question is, wouldn't it be nice if one day we go to maybe the airport area and then they point out the GAND building to us, and is it more beautiful than this? So GAND is hoping to build a national GAND secretariat with ultra-modern conference room facilities. and it wants to invest in the establishment of real estate locations suited for nutrition sensitive and nutrition specific trainings. So one will ask, how do we collaborate on that? Your guess is as good as mine. Where can we find out? Is this something we would like to happen for us? What does the GAND Secretariat having an ultra modern conferencing facility do for us? Your guess is as good as mine. Improve services, we get opportunities to, you could even use there for a scientific lecture for yourself, or we could collaborate with others to get a program there, maybe invite ministers to our conference room, and then there's a group trying to talk about something peculiar to your work, peculiar to where an issue at hand. And guess what? It's your facility, and I'm sure it will be easier to use it. So this point in the strategic plan still holds in terms of how we want to collaborate and where we want to see ourselves going as well. So an interesting point. I'd love to see if you agree with me on this. I would love your ideas as well. What can we do? What comes into your mind if we want to work together as nutritionists and dietitians to have something like this for ourselves that will make our work easier, and then we'll be able to exert more impact as well. I put in fundraising activities because we have members who can go to an office and get a check signed in a matter of minutes. It's actually a gift as well. So such people have been doing it for their businesses, they've been doing it for companies, they've been doing it low-key. And this is a skill. It's not everyone who can even go around and say, this is my idea. We're a professional body. We want to come together and get this done and do it. It's not everybody who they will listen to. And some already have people you know, or you are aware of opportunities that come with more money, fundraising activities, and all. You're already aware of them. You can come and say, you know what, I'm good at this. Let me just get 3 people. Let's put together a plan. I know where we can go. You may be a nutritionist, you may be a dietitian. You call, you know what, I've seen that you've done this before. Maybe you know of a dietitian who has done this fundraising thing before. You call the person, you say, you know what, I want us to have this done. I think we can get this amount of money. Let's go as a team. And then the collaboration goes. Because a lot of things, sometimes we don't talk about it, but money drives a lot of things you want to do, sometimes as a group. So let's say we even want to go on a community outreach. We're going to be in a vehicle. Either we hide the vehicle, we are going, we need money to go to the place we want to. If you're even in media and you want to even have a program running, you will need sponsors to come on board to sponsor your program. Though you are doing something of benefit, but it's a business. The TV station will tell you that, you know what, to run your program, we need you to bring this number of sponsors on board. You may not, maybe I'm into media, you are good with presenting, you are good with hosting a live program, but you don't know how to talk to sponsors. You don't know how to even reach out. And then you find out that there's a colleague in another region who has brought a lot of sponsors on board. It's an avenue for collaboration as well. So, rounding up, I'll leave this list open. Let us know, what are the avenues we can collaborate? Community engagements, research publications, mentorship training, fundraising. We can decide to volunteer our services in a particular location. We come together as a group and we do that. All in it to exert a lot of impact. We have what it takes to change a lot of things for the better, but we have to show up and do it. And as a group, we can go further than we even envisage. So collaboration is the way to go. So let's think about it. We can keep adding to this list. What can we be doing that will bring both of us on board and ensure that we are doing really, really great things? So I'll conclude, just as I give a quote at the beginning, I'll end with one. Knowing where you are going is the first step to getting there. So at least we have an idea where we are going. If we're nothing at all, we can find ourselves in the vision of GAND, and we can find ourselves in a strategic plan as well. And I'm sure that once we know where we are going, our planning, our collaboration, everything that we do will be geared towards getting there. And that will guide whatever we want to do. So this is just a reference. I used our GAND strategic plan for 2020 all the way to 2025. And I would take the opportunity to thank you for your audience and thank you for listening. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Adi Dede Kwajo. It's been a very, very great presentation, and I like the dexterity with which the issues were brought forth to our understanding. Please, can you show your face now? Now the questions will start coming soon.
Hi, everyone.
Yes. So please, I've seen a lot of senior members on this call. I've seen a lot of the people in academia, in industry, in clinical practice as well. So I believe that if you have any conversation to raise out of what has happened, so you want to add something or you want to ask a probing question for us to discuss, please, you can raise your hand or you can send a message in the chat box and I will read it. Any question? Okay, so
yeah, hello Prince.
Yeah, how do you lecture?
Yeah, thank you for putting this together, and then also grateful to the day for a wonderful presentation. I think one thing we should all take home is the thoughts of where do we situate ourselves within the strategic plan of GAND and start doing something. And I believe that if we all have that introspection and then we come up with a way to go, it's going to be so varied that at the end of the day, we will really, really collaborate for a very good cause. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abdullah. Prof. I've seen Prof. Ari's comment. Is that brilliant exposition today? So that's a good one for you there. Dr. Hayford is also giving you your kudos. And Vice President is, I forgot to let you to tell our colleagues that you are an alumnus of ANLP. Right, great. Okay. So Collins, thank you for your encouragement as well. Please, okay, please, the link for attendance will be posted very soon. We wanted an hour to pass. So just be looking inside the chat box. The link for attendance will be posted very soon. Please, those of us who are not asking any question, if you can mute yourself, it will help us. Kindly mute yourself for us. Okay, Dr. Hayford, please, you can unmute and speak.
So good evening, colleagues. And today I would also would like, even though I have posted, I've congratulated you, I would also want to add my voice by saying that's a very brilliant presentation and well done. And I just want to sort of reiterate what they said. And for me, it's been on my heart for a while. We are sitting on gold mines in terms of data and information. And I would really would like to encourage, just as Dede mentioned, to encourage our colleagues in the hospitals, the clinicians, to collaborate with those of us who are in academia, to publish this information. It is a way of generating evidence, for our practice and for data for the country. So I would really would encourage, you should get in touch with us if you don't know exactly what you should do. Fortunately, now my brief experience with a lot of facilities now is that you are actually capturing the data electronically now. I mean, very lovely. I've seen a couple of the data sets that some of our facilities are actually capturing, and this would make it very easy to extract whatever data. So I would encourage our clinicians to just reach out. I have already spoken to a couple of people. So for instance, I've spoken to Dr. Van der Palen at the police hospital. I mean, all probably would need to do probably would be to seek for clearance, ethical clearance, to use these data. I mean, these data that you collect, day in and day out, to make sense or meaning out of them, and then ultimately published these data, because we need them. Okay? We need this to drive our, as evidence, to drive our practice, to drive our research directions as to what is happening on the ground. So I would, in addition, add my voice to what they encourage that we work together, to drive this, to drive GAND, to a greater height. Yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hifford. Thank you. Araba Morrison, please, you can unmute and speak. Araba. Okay. Yes, Julius, kindly unmute and speak.
Hi, how are you today? I like your presentation. I want to be like you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so about the peer review, I know that sometimes at the, let's say, facility level, some facilities come together, maybe at hospital levels, to do peer review of specific areas. So I'm wondering, as GAND or as people who are in nutrition dietetics profession, is it in the pipeline, or would it work well for us if we come up with some criteria to maybe periodically review the various diet departments across, or nutrition offices across the country, to see whether or not people are working according to the quality? Because I'm sure GAND, we at GAND, we are very interested in ensuring that we are a credible institution. And if we can have maybe some criteria to be like maybe documentation, are people doing ADIME? What kind of food models are they using? The evidence, like maybe have this criteria so that from time to time we do peer review of the various departments. Are there any plans like that, or what do you think about that?
Okay, so Adi, what are your thoughts?
Oh, and thank you, Julius. That's an amazing contribution. Yeah, we have to cultivate a habit of peer-to-peer review. It has enormous benefits. It's just that people don't like feedback. But as I said, if it's part of the culture of GAN, maybe the executives, RD Prince can talk about it. But we don't have to wait for GAN to do that. You can get a sister hospital, sell the idea to them. or a sister institution sell the idea to them that I want us to be doing this. How does that work for you? And then you will do that. For example, in Kolebu, there's an annual performance review. You're supposed to give a feedback to the other departments, and I'm sure it runs in a lot of the clinical settings. But you can decide, maybe you, as I said, you want to collaborate with a specific institution or hospital or facility, and your colleague there buys into the idea. It will be so great. But as part of quality control, I think it's something GAND can look at as a professional body to actually actively encourage that to be done in facilities as well. So that would be at the doorstep of our executives on GAND. But I think it's a great idea. And
Thank you very much. Please, can I quickly ask a follow-up?
yes.
So this is also to maybe our Prince and the GAND executives. Is it possible to maybe have a system where maybe people can maybe from time to time go to do maybe like exchange program? You have people from the rural areas coming to Kolebu, because I know last year I had the opportunity to be in Kolebu for 2 weeks to learn about stroke management, and even though it was not organized by the diet unit, I benefited from Andy was very helpful in explaining how the stroke unit is being run, especially when it comes to the diet perspective. So I'm wondering, is it possible that we maybe come up with a program like this where people can maybe from time to time visit sister facilities and then work? Is that something we can look into?
Very, very great idea. We will add to the many things we have to do. You know, it seems where we are now, there are plethora of things we need to do, and it's a lot. First of all, we are pushing a lot of energies in organizing ourselves. Once we get a very good standing, a lot of the heavens, as Professor said, only heaven knows where we are going, right? So please let's all of us work together, come together, build the structures together. Then now the benefits will show. Our standards will be very clear. We know the path we are charting. If anybody is speaking anywhere, people will have confidence in us as nutrition professionals.
Thank you. It's encouraging to hear that.
Sure, Julius. Thank you. Thank you too for that insightful comment and suggestion. Please, Benis Eduba says, please, how do we know each other's strength in our profession? Personally, I think mentorship will be a good way to go. Experienced and senior colleagues can take 1 or 2 new dietitians to mentor. This can be made easy when there's a structure to choose senior or who you can contact for help in our sphere of work. Most senior colleagues know themselves, and they can help in fishing out special strength among the new dietitians with this. We can enlarge our visibility. Thank you. All right. So that is Benis. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's well noted. We've added it to the to our to-dos, and very soon you will see the mentorship program that we will be running. Thank you. Do I see any hand? Any other hand? Any other hand? Okay, please, those of you who are asking of the forms, the attendance form is in the chat box. Please kindly fill. When you are filling, make sure your AHPC number is well written. Otherwise, when we send it to Ella Health, your points cannot be uploaded. Please. I think if there's only one number you have to cram into your head, it should be your AHPC number. You should not miss any digit. Very, very important. Thank you so much. Adi Mavis, did you say you wanted to say something? Okay. Yeah, Pearl, please kindly unmute and speak.
Thank you very much. Thank you, RDDD, for the insights. I just also want to say that as members, once you belong to an association, we should be looking out for each other. And also keep in mind that whenever you stand, whenever you see a patient, you are representing the professional body. I've had an experience where a patient comes in and tells me what another professional in another place told him about professionals in a particular area. I think if we want to move forward as an association, as a group, we should be looking out for each other and not about
Bad mouthing.
Colleagues because of probably their location or wherever they are, because we are a body. There are other professions that they are so united that if you step on one toe, you've stepped on everybody else's toe. So I think that going forward, let's hold that togetherness and stand for each other. If you feel somebody is not doing so well, a particular regard, you could reach out to the person, maybe probably even offer to mentor the person. Because like I said, we are representing the whole profession in whichever space we find ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very, very, very important.
RD friends, can I please add something?
Yes, please.
Yes, so the peer-to-peer feedback should be constructive. It should be enhancing, not because you have personal issues with the person or something. It's something that you are given because you want the person to be better. So it's more how you even give it would show whether it achieves what your aim was. So we all have to learn to give constructive feedback. It's something you have to learn. Or it's not just taking the phone, this person came and you gave this wrong intervention, or you said, I think there's an issue with Kobe now on some, yes. And I like R.D. Nana Kofi's write-up about us not throwing our colleague. I think I saw the beginning. In effect, he was saying, don't throw your colleague to the wolves. Let's find out what happened. And even if your colleague erred, how can you go about it to ensure that this is something that builds up and it's not to just make the person feel so bad or what he or she is doing.
Yes.
We should be careful how we give the feedback as well.
Yes, very important. And also, please, before I allow R.D. Collins to speak, I think, yes, I have our 4 hands now. R.D. Collins, please, just a moment. When we have the opportunity to give a talk, and we know our colleagues, it's not, we know some colleagues that some topics you may want to defer to do it for you. You know that some topics you can actually do, but you need some key points. Please, let's speak to ourselves. I do that all the time. When I'm going to give a presentation, I look at my colleagues who are versed in some areas, get all that I need, add it to it, and the presentation becomes richer. So please, don't let us work alone. That's why we are all here. That's why we are all together. Let's work hard so that when we come up, either in the media or in our writings, we will write the minds of all of us so that we don't put ourselves in trouble and put the academy also in a position where we have to struggle to defend you. Thank you so much. R.D. Collins, please, you can unmute and speak.
Thank you, R.D. Dede, for the very insightful presentation, and then to the executive for the opportunity to have this very important program. Yeah, so my contribution is that in as much as GAND at the professional level, is trying to provide avenues for mentorship and then for professional development for members. I think members also have responsibilities to also take control of their own development. So if there's no formal mentorship program at the moment, we can also initiate it. Okay, so get in touch with a senior colleague who has some special strength in an area, and then link up, so that can be a way out. And also, I think that when there's also the need for us to upgrade ourselves, we also have to seek every opportunity or avenue to do so. For instance, if you train at the certificate or diploma level, and you have been working in the public sector for 3 years, 5 years, almost 10 years, okay, and there are avenues to take study leave, to go and do degree, or if you did degree, you've been in the system for 5, 10 years, there's opportunity to take study leave to do a master's degree and so forth. Let's take advantage of it. Okay, so let's not say that, oh, when I sit at the within the Ghana Health Service, after 3 years, I'll get automatic promotion. So no, it's not really relevant to pursue further training. So let's also take charge of our own development as well. So that's what I also want to add to this discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well said. Adilecha, I'll profile you to the profile. I'll invite you soon. Yeah.
Okay, so thanks, Prince. Just a little bit on the how to do this peer review feedback kind of thing, right? I think that the approach that we adopt sometimes looks more like rather putting a slide or a negative response to whatever we hear, right? So we drop it on the platform, and whoever is involved might even be shy to come and then clear their name, right? So I think that if I hear something about Prince, the first thing I should do as a colleague is to call him personally and then draw his attention. For he doesn't even know that his reportage has been taken out of context. So you talk to him at that level. But if you have not done that, and then you bypass all other means of reaching out to the person and then drop it on the general professional platform, we are there as professionals, but we don't have the same levels of control of emotions and everything. Maybe some are more matured, etc. Right? I think the first thing to do is to contact the person in question. For the person will clarify and even be the one to first draw the general membership's attention to the issue, right? Like the Kobe issue. I think that if the RD involved had someone talking to them directly and then they agree, then that person comes to tell us that, oh, this is what I said, drop the video herself. And then we all move as a group. But then if we are there to kind of like castigate instead of correct constructively, see, what you are doing is that you are dampening spirits. Because this whole thing, Prince, you remember many years ago, when we ventured into some of these things, we needed a certain high level of boldness, right? There was no example to look up to. So that level of confidence will be dampened if you think that, okay, I'm an academic, this is how it should be done. The person has made a mistake, let's call them out and all that. Then the creativity we are looking for, the ability of members to create things that will make us all proud, we'll lose it at the end of the day, right? So in summary, I'm saying that let's learn to correct people, first of all, in private before we come public. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anthony Kula says, it appears there is a huge gap between the members now and our potential. Yes, about 20%. We have 80% of our members who are not members yet, potential members, because 600 and 300 is 20% of it. So we said that there should be a drive for membership so that we'll be strengthened. He says there's strength in numbers. Okay, Felicia Danso. Felicia, please, can you unmute and speak?
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Please, can you hear me? Okay,
yes,
thank you very much. So I want to congratulate RD for her presentation. It was very detailed and very clear. And so I want to make an input in the, One of our sisters mentioned about we trying to protect each other and avoiding bad mouthing one another. And so I want to also add that we should appreciate that we are one body, but we have very distinct roles. And so there is the need for us to appreciate that and respect the unique areas of practice that members are involved in. And so we need to appreciate those who are more inclined towards the preventive and public health aspects, and then those also the clinical and treatment or curative aspects. Let's respect each other's area of practice and value each other's area of practice, so that together when we are moving, we know that we are moving as one body, but with two very strong parts, so that in the eyes of the public, it's very easy for the public to notice a rift than for we those who are within the body. So if the public notices rifts in the line of communication, in our line of communication, in the way we address one another, then we give them a weapon for them to utilize to ensure that that rift widens. And knowing the potential of GAND in the space, especially in the health space and development aspects of Ghana, if many other professions are seeking to, veer into our profession, so if we give them the opportunity, they will further drift us apart and then come in and fill that gap. Then later we'll have to be doing damage control, which will not serve us much. So I would also want to say that if you are in the line of practice, you encounter any case, any client that you know that, look, this area is more inclined towards public health or preventive, or this is more inclined towards curative, clinical, please, it doesn't mean you don't know. You can make an intervention, but it will serve the best interest of the client if you refer the person to the appropriate quarters for that intervention to be taken. It doesn't mean you are not a nutritionist or a dietitian. No, it further tells that we are respecting and we are valuing our individual or collective contribution towards good health and also towards development. So that, it will prevent us from giving recommendations that will not best, it doesn't communicate the current knowledge or information in a particular area. Then we will have to come back and do damage control because one of us has given an information that is not up to scratch. So let's appreciate these differences, and then your area, if you know that I'm not too knowledgeable in this, it's not a crime. You refer and then learn, and then we move on. So I just want to also,
it's well taken, Felicia.
Yeah,
point
I want to
well
make,
taken, well made.
Yes, so the issue of peer-to-peer review, I want to ask that we even discuss it beyond what should I say, personal, or noticing what somebody has not done right and trying to bring the person into the right space, but also looking at having a discussion where each zone comes to make a presentation of the current nutrition interventions running in the zones, so that other members in other zones are aware of it, so that when they are asked questions or at whichever level, they would, you don't sound too ignorant of the area of practice that you are in, regardless of whether it's happening up north or down south. So we can look at that, and that also helps us to be well, educated and up to date with the interventions in the service or from whichever quarters that is happening in the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Very, very, very elegantly. It's well taken. I think all of us have heard. What I've taken out of it is that as a professional, I must know myself, know my competencies, know what I can do. What I can't do, a colleague can do. Let me refer to that person or defer to that person to do. But when the person does it, the glory still comes to the academy. All of us, they say that we are correct, we are good. If we're forced to do what we can't do, it may bring troubles. Before Prof. Ali comes in, I think Mavis, Adi Mavis, your hand has been up for long. Adi, Tina, I've seen you. I'll call you too. Yes, Adi Mavis.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
Before you come in, Felicia, please, are you RN or ID? I couldn't address you well. Okay. All right, let's go ahead.
Okay.
I'm Aaron. Sorry.
All right. Aaron, Dansu, powerful. Thank you.
Please, I would like to add to what Dede has said, what RD Wise has said. And it's a trend that I've noticed amongst us as a group. We are quick to assume that our colleague is wrong or they've done something wrong. There is a game that we play as children called telephone, where you are told something, then you go and whisper it to somebody else, who then goes and whispers it to somebody else. And by the time the person tells you what has actually been said, the information has changed. We have to understand that what a person says and what a listener hears are two huge different things. When you are counseling a patient and the patient is hearing something you're saying, and they take that and they run with it. And although that was not what you intended, the person chose to hear what they heard. And we always assume, I'm noticing the trend, we always assume that the dietitian is the one that's wrong. What if the patient is the one that did not hear or did not listen well to the information that was given? We are quick to assume that the dietitian is wrong and that they shouldn't have done this. Meanwhile, we then ask dietitians that we should come and give our advice to the public or to do a presentation. We're quick to sell each other out. We're quick to I'm going to use the word, crucify ourselves before we know the context in which the information was given, the context in which the person who heard it understood it. And we do this all the time. Now, if you bash me on the platform, although you don't know my views, and then you turn around and you tell me you're going to come and peer review me, what do you think the response is going to be? We need to understand that, like our previous person said, we work in different contexts. Sometimes a patient will tell a physician a whole different set of story and come and tell the dietitian a whole different set of story. And yet you have to make sure that the patient who is unhappy with the physician still understands that the physician is on their side and they're trying to help them. We as a body, and I'm going to say it, needs to stand together. Know the information that you are chasing after, understand the perspective in which the information was given, under which circumstances the question was asked, before you jump the gun and jump on the throat of your colleague. We sell each other out on the platform all the time, and we assume that if a patient comes to complain to you about another dietitian, that the dietitian is wrong. Is it possible that the patient didn't hear properly, or the patient took the information and twisted it, and by the time they regurgitated the information to you, it was wrong? I've seen it happen. I've had other patients come to me to complain about other dietitians. And my first point of contact is to ask them, exactly what did you go in there for? Exactly what did the dietitian tell you? Did you give them all the information that was required? And most of the time they'll tell you, oh, that one there, I didn't tell them. As practitioners, we offer recommendation and suggestion based on what the patient gives, the information the patient gives us. So if the patient decides to withhold information, or they don't give us all the information, and we provide a recommendation based on what we are given, it can easily come back where the patient will go and tell somebody else a different story. I've seen it happen. I've witnessed it and I've experienced it. So please, we are all educated. We all went to school. We all are practicing. We all are attending CPDs to what? To elevate our level of understanding. And so we must approach each other with respect, with the dignity that is due us. At least have the decency to check with the person before you start lambasting them on the platform that they are wrong, they should have done this. But meanwhile, we know the media like to sensationalize a lot of things.
Yes.
That's their job, because if not, you will not read the paper, period. So please,
Thank you so much.
Be a bit more respectful in how we critique each other. Get the facts before you start to critique somebody, because you know what goes around will come around.
Well said.
Thank you.
Well said. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. I think it's clear. Papa.
Yeah, hello. Good afternoon to evening. Sorry, good evening to all listeners, all of us.
Good evening.
In fact, I looking back, I want to apologize. I was not able to attend the previous last two presentation or CPD by the Prof. Anang, and then I think the previous, yes, I'm done. I wasn't able to listen because I was quite engaged. I would have loved to listen to them those particular presentation. But I think today's presentation is solid. For me, I think that is where the beginning of it all, because she's looking at it from a holistic perspective. That is looking at how all of us together can come together and forge ahead. It's a clarion call for all of us. I think this is not the time for us to be at each other's throat. Already I'm seeing glimpses of things like that. They say this and that. I think we have just started. The journey has actually started. There are still more people to join, and this is where we have to really get them on board. I think somebody also made that call. We need to get all our members on board. Now, for me, I see this as the beginning. We should take this as a starting point, really. We are in zones, northern zone, southern zone, middle zone, and so on and so forth. We should take these materials in zone, like you've gone for a meeting or a conference, and you are coming back to deliberate on the what you call the lessons learned or the fallout from the conference. These are issues that we can deliberate on further in our zones, at the zones.
Yeah.
And then some of these issues that they are raising, that are being raised now, we can look at them into more details, because it's very important that we respect each other. First of all, we know where we all stand and the roles we play is very critical. If we don't understand all these things, we will never make any forward move. There was an issue of somebody brought a very important article onto one of our platforms. And the article was about what is the difference between a dietitian and a dietitian. Like the dietitian with a T and a dietitian with a C. And also what's the difference between a nutritionist and a dietitian. See, these are issues that I think fundamentally, if we get to go into the details, we understand that there's no difference. There's no difference between us. It's just the role you are playing, where you are, and the kind of training you have been given, the essential training you have been given, which makes you a little different. But we all have knowledge in so many areas. And like you said, like they have been saying, we are trying to forge ahead in a way that we can become united and concerted in our efforts with one agenda, so that when we talk, we are talking everybody's mind. The CPDs that we are having is supposed to ensure some of these things.
Oh, I think we've lost Prof. Hello, Prof. Oh, okay. Okay, Tina, please, you can unmute and speak. Adi Edufu.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
I hope you can hear me well.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. RDDD, thank you, GAND, for this very informative and then for all the discussions. And I think all the contributions so far have been great, and that's something that I'm happy to be a part of. Okay. I just want to say one small thing. I know everybody makes mistakes. I make mistakes. Sometimes students correct me. There are things that you know, the knowledge changes, or sometimes you even know the thing, but your state of mind and what is happening, your life issues, things like that can affect the information you give, even when you know the right thing. So I think it is very important that we find a good way of correcting our members. But I think sometimes we are wrong. And even if they didn't say it well, I mean, encouraging them not to people not to say it well, we should listen and then know what I did that was wrong and how I can change it. I mean, that is something that I think this our current generation sometimes is difficult, that it is not acceptable to correct some people. And sometimes you are wrong. You know, sometimes it's not the patient feedback that is wrong. Sometimes the patient feedback said it, the diet sheet said it, and everything is saying it, but then people will not accept to change, even when they are corrected in the nicest way. Okay. So sometimes we are wrong, sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I've given presentations and things I know I've said something else, and I come back and I remember, and next time if you ask me, I'll try. But sometimes we are wrong. So we should also find a way of accepting the constructive criticisms that we get. And I think that will also go a long way, because nobody is perfect. We all make mistakes. And then we should also be patient. You know, me personally, I've not always been very good from the feedback I get, especially like text messages, may appear with, and even vocally, I mean, may appear harsher, and it's something that I'm working on, and than what I actually mean. I've been told and I'm working on, okay? But sometimes people, for no reason, maybe from what they have heard about you, can on the background, because you commented on something, give it to you for no reason. I mean, totally embarrass you in your privacy for no reason. So you become wary to even try to correct people you do not know directly. Like the way it was said that you contact the person. Some people you will contact will be in trouble. You get it. So you may find somebody who knows that person who can talk to them. So I think what we have to accept is that people make mistakes. If somebody says you have done something wrong, let's think about it. Maybe I actually did something wrong, and what we can think about it. That's what I want to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We must be this presentation has given me about 10 CPD topics for next year, God willing.
Sharp. If you don't mind, let me just add something small to what Dietetic just said.
Yeah.
You see, I think that aspect of professional reflection, self-reflection, is very important. And I think Dietetic has made the point very clearly. What I want to add is this, that it is for the purposes of the situations where we may all not be able to have personal engagements, relationships with ourselves. As our numbers grow, the facts are that you cannot possibly know every nutritionist and every dietitian who is in the country. So that is why, as a professional body, typically there is what we call a disciplinary committee, or if you like, an ethics committee of a sort, so that ideally we shouldn't get to that point. But if the processes of trying to engage with ourselves falls through the cracks, there usually is that body which stands there for the purposes of helping to streamline, or as it were, sanction, if it becomes necessary, what's the word? People who go way over the board. Now, so what I'm just saying is that sometimes the safest thing we can do for our profession, or for GAND, or for ourselves, is to just make an official complaint to the professional body, which would refer this complaint to the disciplinary committee, which will now have which actually has the power by law to go into resolving the issue in a safe way for both the practitioner and for the professional body. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vice President. Thank you. Well said. I'll only take 2 more comments. I saw Maxwell's hand. Maxwell.
Yes. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm very much excited about today's CPD. A lot of issues have really come up, and I think that it's very, very important. My concern has to do with how we can standardize our practice. I've had a few doctor friends who got in touch, and what they're trying to say is that our practice, they realize that when you send a patient to a dietitian, and then you get another person to that same person, dietitian, you get different interventions, even though the person may have one particular condition. So I try to explain to them that depending on the condition and the situation, there may be some slight variations. But I think the key message they were trying to say is that even though the variations may be there, but the signs should not change. And they gave some references. And I've had a situation where I had a patient from a different hospital who was being managed for renal failure. And the restrictions that were put on the patient was just uncalled for. So, but I know the person, so I did contact a senior colleague in that hospital. And we were able to address the issue beautifully, and it didn't really cause any problem. And so what I want to point out is, one, I would be grateful if we chart a path towards standardizing our practice. That is one. And then the second thing I would like us to do, at least with some of the senior colleagues, should in the same hospital at least try to have journal clubs or find a way within that particular hospital to standardize the practice, so that if I am seeing a case for renal and another dietitian in that same facility, we shouldn't see so much variations in terms of the science or what is supposed to be done for that patient. It sometimes doesn't help us as professionals in terms of the feedback we get from other professionals, especially doctors and other physicians. So to bring it to an end, I think what we have done at Legon that has been of help is we try to come up with, protocols for managing cases. And it's really helping us. So even if you're an intern and you come in, at least when you go through that process, it kind of help you to be able to do a better job, so that we don't see these distortions of science. And at the end of the day, it comes back to us and as to who did the right thing and all that. But all that being said, I think that we do not throw the dirty water with the child. So anytime there's a problem out there, like the other colleagues have said, let's find a very nice way of addressing the problem. Otherwise, we dampen a lot of spirit for some of the young and upcoming dietitians. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adi. Our last speaker will be RDPKH. Please, what is PKH? Regulatory Officer.
Hello, Osofo. This Sparkle is Hackman.
Hackman. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Please kindly go on.
Yeah. All right. I was privileged to be part of Audi Hamda's presentation, and let me say, I didn't get the opportunity to say something, but let me say that it was very needful as far as I'm concerned, because it was a clarion call for some of us to get back into the field. Some years ago, I was very active in the GTA, and then when it turned into GAND, because I had a new job and had a different perspective, and so I took a back seat. So that presentation was very critical, at least for some of us. I took it personal. And so I'm very grateful. This one, even though I didn't join ab initio, it's also very important because it leads some of us where we want to go, how we can help. And the important things that I identified, building partnerships, the community engagement, and then improving ourselves, try and situate ourselves in different areas as the GMA has done. I was privileged to be part of a certain team, and we met them, and you get to know they are everywhere. And that's why they are powerful. I'm praying for one day where we'll have maybe RD Maxwell, who's a lawyer. If I have an issue on air, I'll go to him. because he will better understand me. Politicians. There's a politician in parliament who is part of every project. Because of his expertise in the clinical field. That is my prayer, and I'm hoping that one day we will get there. As far as community engagement are concerned, I'm also praying that one day the dietitian in Sefioso, and I mean Sefioso because that's where I grew up. I'm praying that one day that person or any other place that is not as developed as Accra, where nutrition, education, and promotion is at least better, that person under the auspices of GAND, the GAND establishment in Accra, will be able to look for resources on their own or get slots, which is possible, so that we would all at the same time and periodically, wait for one very important moment or a celebratory day where we are pouring out good information. When I was very active and I was doing nutrition education from one radio station to another, one of the things I identified was that nutrition knowledge to the Ghanaian finds it very tasty, all pun intended. And that is why that man at Oman FM has so much power, and he's not tagged by anyone, whether he pours out what is warped or true or untrue or evidence-based or not. So I'm hoping and praying that we would all endeavor to play our own part to make sure that GAND gets to where it is to be. But if we have to play our own part, then it means that any level that we can help, we don't have to wait for that fine day. I, in my own small way, and I'm speaking, I'm pointing the finger, but then the paw is pointing back to me. The finger is pointing back to me. In my own small way, I'm also doing my bit where I find myself. Because I am the only one there, in my own way, I am doing my small bit. When any information comes and has to do with GAND, has to do with the dietitian, or anything of a true dietitian, whether good or bad, I get to know and I get to prompt. So in any small way, we can play our part. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pakwesi. I want to say a very big thank you to all of us, our nutritionists, registered dietitians, and I don't know whether any of our diploma members joined this call and any of the students and the interns. I want to say a very big thank you to all of you. Adi, do you have any concluding remarks? Then I will close the call.
Oh, hi, everyone. Good evening again. What a very insightful discussion. I've just loved listening to what everybody had to say. And I'm happy that we get to talk about this, because in talking about this, then we self-check and then we move forward, improving on what is already there. So thank you so much. I'm just grateful for the opportunity to present to you today. And you've been an amazing audience, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you so much.
Thank you. ANLPR, great presentation. Thank you so much. And I want to say kudos to all of us. Please, God willing, we'll have 2 CPDs in April. Then May is our CPD month, so we have CPD every week. Let's do our best. Some of them will be at the zonal levels, that is in person. So those of us at the southern here will meet in Accra, those in the northern may meet somewhere, and those Volta and Eastern and Central and Western. Please, let's do our best to do the in-person ones as well, and it will help all of us. Please do well to fill the form. I've just posted it again. Do well to fill it. And all the recommendations you have given have been, the CPD is recorded. We have written some down. We'll listen to it again and put all of them down. The ones that we have to use as CPDs, we will do. The one that we have to implement immediately, we will do. And the one that should be in the medium to long term, that one too will be done. Thank you so much. It's been an awesome time. And I want to say a very big thank you to everybody once again. And as we started with prayer, since you presented, can you do us the honors to pray and close us?
Thank you, Prince. Please, shall we pray? Father, we just want to thank you for this awesome time of deliberation. We thank you for being with us all the way from the beginning, giving us wisdom, giving us ideas to advance this great professional body. We thank you that every one of us has taken what we'll run with to ensure excellence, quality in whatever field or wherever we find ourselves. We know that you'll be with us, counseling us and giving us wisdom. And next time we meet again, we'll come with greater results than ever before. We give you all praise and adoration in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. So, Gideon, we have closed though. You can put your, yeah.
Miss, I want to fill the attendance sheet. I can't see it.
Oh, Gideon, I
Yes,
just put it there. Okay,
if you can repost it.
I'm reposting again. Kindly
Thank
look
you,
inside the chat. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. So now put it at the grill. You can look at your friends and say hi to them. The gallery. Good. Yeah. Those of you that, hey, Thelma, if we can see your face, it will be nice. Howdy, Thelma, Millicent, Jocelyn Chan, Sheila. Y'all, thank you all. In the next 2 minutes, we are going to sign off. So those who want to say hi, you can unmute and say hi to whoever you want to say hi to. Gideon, do you have the link now?
Yes, please. I got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yo.
Okay. All right. Okay, so on this note, I'll say bye-bye to all of you. We'll end here, and we'll meet again, God willing, second Wednesday in April. Bye-bye.